Morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending when you're watching this. My name is JP Backwell, and I'm the Managing Director at ILUS International. Welcome to this Q4 progress update video. We felt it's worth to put some form of an update out, as there's been lots of exciting progress going on in terms of deals, contracts, acquisitions, things under the belly of the business, so to speak. And so, we thought we'd do that via a video. Most of the feedback we've had is that people really appreciate the videos and find them useful. I've also received plenty of emails of all sorts this week, as you can imagine, with the majority saying they look forward to the video. And for those who say, forget about the sound bites, rather put out news through PRs, I think if you've been around us a while, you'll know that we always release a PR within days of videos or shareholder meetups, etc. But note also that we did recently release probably our biggest PR to date, and I don't think it was properly digested. I know it was a long PR, but it did need to be following on from what was said at the shareholder meetups. But hence the reason for these more personable videos where we can expand on things and help people to really see what the roadmap looks like. The entire ILUS team remains steadfast, doing what we've always been doing, and therefore our message is very much the same. We're still focused on building a long-term sustainable business. Our heads are down, we're grafting, we're grinding, we're busy shaking hands and doing deals. We're 150% focused on growth and making a huge difference in our industry. There are some things which we cannot control, but growth is what we can control, and it's growth that we'll continue to deliver on. We always announce the next step and then we deliver on it, and then we'll announce the next step and repeat the process. So right now we've talked about some next steps and we're in the process of delivering on those so that our shareholders are always 100% confident that we deliver on what we communicate. And again, that's how you build a long-term sustainable company. So we'll just keep delivering step by step. So we've made some exciting progress. Let me rather get into that and what's going on in the life of ILUS lately and what you can look forward to. I mentioned that we are expanding globally, so I will dive into that. But first, let me just give some background for those who are new to ILUS. We acquired 3 companies in the first 2 quarters, 1 in the UK, 2 in the Middle East, and we've since then signed pre-contract agreements for 3 US acquisitions. We've actually also since signed the pre-contract agreement for the acquisition of a group of 4 companies in the UK, and any one of those companies on their own is really impressive. But we decided not to announce the details of this deal yet until we've begun closing the transactions on the first 3 US acquisitions. And we're hoping to do all 3 before the end of this year, or at least 2 of the 3, with the 3rd at the start of next year. Meanwhile, we're already working on various growth strategies for each of the acquisitions, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. We're expecting at least 12 million in annual revenue in 2022 from the first 3 US acquisitions alone, and then a similar number for 2022 from the UK deal. But that's obviously before we unravel our far more strategic and aggressive sales and marketing plans for each of the companies, which includes manufacturing and rolling out our own ILUS technology through them. So those figures, I feel, are actually quite conservative. There's also some really exciting recent developments in terms of our own technology, but I spoke about global expansion, so let me first elaborate on that, and then I will talk about some of the impressive technology developments that we've been making. So in terms of global expansion, technically we are already well and truly on track in that regard. I'm sure you would know by now. We have companies in the UK, Middle East, the US, and we're also in the process of completing a massive European acquisition, and we've got others on the go in Europe as well. We have customers all over the world, and we're growing nicely on that sales front and also through our acquisitions. But I guess, what about Asia? I heard you say. I mean, after all, the emergency response markets in Asia outperforms the US by a considerable amount. There's also not defunding of the police taking place there, and government organizations in places like Singapore, Malaysia, South Korea, and Japan, and others are often very well funded. So we've had a couple of irons in the fire for some time in Asia, but now we really are progressing very well with the largest of them all. And as you know, we don't like doing things small here at ILUS. So I'm not at liberty to announce too many details yet, such as names and locations. because of the stage we're at. And this company is certainly large enough that if I were to mention the location in Asia, it would easily give away who the company is. But what I can say is that we initially started targeting the acquisition of a large fire truck and rescue vehicle manufacturer and converter in Asia. This company supplies many fire brigades across the region. It also makes some of the most innovative and coolest, I might add, rescue vehicles that the world has seen. It also even manufactures robotics systems for emergency responders. Really, really cool tech that they have. So on its own, that would be a serious acquisition for us. But we knew that the company is part of a group of companies, and knowing that the parent is well in line with us in terms of technology innovation, we thought, well, heck, let's just go for the whole lot. And so we're progressing along those lines. We've had good success and progressing very well to the point that we can actually communicate something about it. The group is involved in emergency response in aerospace, defense, logistics, security solutions. They design and build automation solutions that are used in global manufacturing plants. They have a really strong footprint in Asia. And for many reasons, they would be a very, very well-aligned acquisition for us. So I just wanted to mention that global expansion, Asia, a very important market for us. We're moving in there, adding to the customers we've already got in the region. We've already sold a number of firebug products, and we continue to do so across Asia. But this acquisition would and should be enormous for us. You know, things are moving quickly, and we look forward to announcing more soon. And no, this is not the $100 million plus acquisition that we've mentioned previously, although just to say we are progressing very well with that one. There's a huge amount of due diligence, as you can imagine, involved, but we are progressing, and that one is still very, very warm for us. Right, so speaking of contracts I have on my desk, let me update you on the EU deal. We're close to announcing the full details on the first phase of the deal, which has been approved. In fact, the whole thing has been, but we're just going through some administrative processes for the first phase, which involves the sign-off on our processes and procedures and things like that for operating. In the first phase, we're acquiring a large government manufacturing plant in Europe for the manufacture of our commercial electric UTV range, utility vehicle range. Some of you will already know about our E-Raptor six-wheeled UTV that we sell across the Middle East, Asia, and Africa. It's the only vehicle of its type globally, and in its class, it destroys the competition when it comes to range and load carrying capability. We've now completely actually redesigned that vehicle, and we've also added a whole range of vehicles to it. And so the entire range of commercial electric UTVs and some complementary vehicles to that, which we will announce more in the near future, will all be made at this European manufacturing plant. I'm not going to spend too much time on it now, but it's an impressive range. It's designed by our in-house team that have been involved in designing electric vehicles for the likes of Mercedes and Jaguar. We mentioned in our most recent PR that this acquisition is part of a privatization deal, which involves huge government incentives for developing and exporting innovative technology whilst creating local employment, all of which the government incentivizes. So in brief, really simple terms, there's really only upside for us in this deal, pretty much zero cost, a seat at the table for major European and global contract discussions for EV technology, and top-notch scalable manufacturing facilities. So right now, we're just finalizing the details, as I said, like, for example, with machinery within the manufacturing plants, number of staff, the associated organizational structure, some of the other administrative details within the contracts. And we do hope to have it completed for announcement before the end of December. So we'll deliver the first phase, and then we'll talk more about the larger second phase. In our most recent PR, we did talk about a European drone deal, or UAV deal, as we prefer to call it, since it's really much bigger than any standard commercial drone. But I'm not sure if people digested that in the PR. As I said earlier, it was a really long PR. So let me just clarify it a bit more, as it has also been progressing further since then. We've been in discussions with a European company that manufactures a range of unmanned aerial vehicles, or UAVs. These UAVs can carry as much as 1,000 kilograms, 2,200 odd pounds, and can do so with a range of up to 200 kilometers or 124 miles. at speeds of up to 150 kilometers or 93 miles per hour. So you can just imagine with that kind of specifications, the applications for this UAV technology. It's massive, but from just an emergency response perspective, it really is game changing. So think wildfires, high-rise building fires. I mean, I could be here all day discussing how this technology will become the future of autonomous rescue solutions. But on the deal side, initially we were discussing a partnership with the company, but now it actually looks like they could soon become a part of ILUS itself. And so I guess just to say, watch the space. The company's got jaw-dropping technology, and it will be a major player in the future of transportation. And it's looking very much like it's going to be joining the ILUS family. So great news. So in terms of acquisition progress, as I said, we are completing the transactions on the first 3 US acquisitions. And whilst that's happening, we've agreed and signed terms on the substantial UK one, which I mentioned. And that will be our biggest to date, but it's certainly far from the biggest in our pipeline. And so we've been busy with a number of additional acquisition discussions and negotiations, each of which are at different stages in our pipeline. We actually now have a full-time acquisition manager. And so each day we're on several acquisition calls. We always have around 50 to 20 acquisition discussions going on. And we treat it the same way a sales team nurses a sales pipeline, really, except probably with a high level of intensity and enthusiasm than most sales teams, except ours, of course. We have discussions going on in Canada, all over the US, including several in California, New York, Ohio, Texas, several in Florida, including the one which we've discussed previously as nearing completion. And then across the pond, where I am in the UK, we have a few going on, and also Europe, Asia, as I mentioned, and then, of course, the Middle East. So, as I said, we have a team on it. We're hard at work. We're also growing our due diligence team so that we don't have that bottleneck once we agree terms on acquisitions. And that being said, acquiring companies is not like buying a car. Although sometimes I think some people think that's the case. You just don't find it, look at it, test drive it, and then pay for it. And, in a sense, walk out with it. There's a lot of strategic planning and research that just goes into finding the right potential acquisitions from our side. And then there's the initial approach and discussions. There's NDAs signed before initial due diligence. And there's further discussions, which, if they progress, lead to an offer and corresponding negotiations. The negotiation process alone can take weeks. We negotiate really hard. Those who know us, who know me, will know that we do that. And that's how we can do such good deals on top quality assets that are so well aligned with what we're aiming to achieve in terms of technology rollout and growth. But even after a successful negotiation, there is still the pre-contract signing, which involves detailed heads of terms. And that's a lot of work going backwards and forwards between the seller and the buyer via the broker and attorneys. And once it's signed, we then enter a period of really detailed due diligence to ensure that everything is as it should be. And whilst that goes on, the attorneys draft the final purchasing agreement, and we look at aspects such as staffing and regulations, etc. So, for example, if the owner has been operating the company and is slowly transitioning out of the company after we purchase it, we already start looking at options for a top quality replacement. There's additional designers, salespeople, engineers, fabricators, new larger facilities, which is the case for all 3 US acquisitions, and so on and so forth. So I'm just mentioning this so that everyone can understand what's involved. It's important to understand what goes on under the hood of the company you're supporting. And there's also, as I said, lots more acquisitions coming your way, our way, but our strategy remains to deliver these acquisitions in stages, and you'll see the revenue climb accordingly. More importantly, though, the technology and the routes to market we're acquiring is just, it's insane. And that's the part I most look forward to sharing with you all. I've spoken about EV battery deals and things like that. There's just so much going on that acquisition front. It's awesome. So I look forward to sharing more as we close more deals. So on the technology development front, we've made some significant progress lately, and I'm excited to talk a bit about that. For those of you who don't know, let me just give you some brief background. ILUS has its own patented water mist technology for firefighting, courtesy of our first acquisition, Firebug. And this water mist technology is capable of extinguishing multiple classes of fires, which water simply cannot do, including electricity fires. It also extinguishes fires using less than 80% water, 60 to 80% less water. If you don't know about this technology, I'd encourage you to visit our ILUS data room or the Firebug website and learn about it. And so this water mist is perfect for the extinguishing of battery fires, of which there's thousands daily, including electric vehicle fires, such as all the Tesla fires you hear about in the news, e-bike fires, e-scooter fires, transformer fires, data center fires, bus fires, train fires, battery energy storage plant fires. I mean, I could go on all day. They're a major risk, and they're almost an impossible proposition for fire brigades. In fact, fire brigades have been told to turn up at Tesla fires with at least 40,000 liters of water on hand. So in the UK, that's a minimum of 4 fire trucks if there's no hydrant nearby. And because of the science of our water mist technology, it can extinguish that same fire with less than 1,000 liters of water. And that's being conservative from my side. There's many, many more benefits to the water mist technology, but that's one very relevant example at the moment. And we provide our water mist technology for the firefighting industry in the form of specialist nozzles. And then for the fire protection industry, such as for kitchens, hotels, factories, etc., through fixed water mist system nozzles that are fitted in kitchens, in buildings, in roofs, etc. And we've spoken previously that for the firefighting industry, I know I've spoken about it previously, and specifically for the US firefighting industry, that we were developing a multi-purpose all-in-one selectable flow nozzle, which can do everything that the top nozzles which are used can do in terms of flow rates and various spray patterns, but then also add water mist capability to the same nozzle whilst being NFPA compliant at the same time. Previously, we couldn't achieve that NFPA compliance because effectively our water mist technology was ahead of its time, too innovative really for the compliance standard. Well, now we've completed that development. It's NFPA compliance, and I was completely blown away by the testing that was conducted last week in Dubai. I mean, absolutely blown away. This nozzle, which we're soon going to be releasing, has got everything that the standard nozzles have got and more. And then it also has the 25 to 50 micron water mist droplets, which can extinguish fuel fires and battery fires while saving tons of water for other standard fires. It means that fire brigades can turn up and use their standard nozzle, but also have the capability on hand within that nozzle to immediately extinguish an EV fire, for example. They literally just click over and are able to use the water mist to extinguish an EV fire. And that's just one of many examples, as I said. This nozzle is the only one of its kind globally. There is nothing that competes with it. And that's, for me, another thing that is so exciting about it. It will make it much easier for a fire brigade to transition to have water mist capability. And soon there will also be no excuse for them not to be able to extinguish a Tesla fire, for example, quickly and safely. I personally believe this nozzle is going to transform the industry. And I think that in a couple of years, every fire brigade will have one on hand. It's literally that brilliant. And I guess this is why our strategy of acquiring distributors is so important to us, because these guys have the relationships in place with the fire brigades already. And they can just take the nozzle straight to them, leverage those relationships, get the product demonstrated and get it through the door, so to speak, and get it used and get it out there making a difference. Obviously, we can also immediately start offering it to our oil and gas customers. And then also remember, through the likes of our upcoming acquisition, Precision Powered Products in Houston, we've also got access to the likes of Exxon, BP, Shell, and Anadarko in the US. I mean, I could go on, but I guess you can visualize how big this is for the firefighting industry. And then to add to that, we've also been working on the kitchen system certification on the fixed system side, and also doing some equally groundbreaking things on that. So I'll be talking more about that in future updates. We've been doing some behind the scenes work with Bullhead Products for as soon as that transaction closes. That large vehicle contract, which we've spoken about previously, is still very much on the cards. It's progressing nicely. And we're also assessing new larger facilities for Bullhead Products so that we can increase the manufacturing output for them and effectively accommodate that contract requirement. That's one of the things they need to have in place in order to get this really big vehicle order. Next week, we'll also be shipping some of our E-Raptors those ERAP to EU2Vs across to bullhead products, because they will be assembling them from next year for our US customers. We're also shipping across some plastic welding machinery so that they can undergo training on making plastic vehicle bodies, which we know will revolutionize the emergency response industry. And then to Triple P Precision Powered Products, we're also shipping our floating pumps, our Mistmax, our Maverick, our Vulcan fire pumps across to them for future manufacturing, because they will be our pump manufacturer for the US market. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes to position all of these acquisitions to obviously increase sales and of course increase growth for us. We're also organizing the sales strategy and plans for each acquisition. So there's some exciting developments on that side, especially when you look at it and, there's existing and potential customers like Exxon and Shell, Ford, GMC, Ram, Chevrolet, several EV companies, multiple government organizations, and much more. So that's been really exciting for me to see in the past few weeks. We'll also be deploying our world-class ERP system at all of these acquisitions. Might sound like a small thing to some, but for us, it's really important. It will make them far more efficient. It'll put us in a much stronger position to forecast for increased manufacturing and to scale them up accordingly, to roll out our own technology into the US and other markets like Asia, etc. So that's also good. And then through the current phase of acquisitions, we've got 12 salespeople joining us, coming onto our team, I guess, through these acquisitions. And so we're also planning to actually double that pretty quickly. We're bringing on additional marketing resources for communications, graphic design, social media. In addition to that CFO that some might have seen we are looking to hire in the US, we'll also be bringing on additional finance resources and then administrative operations and much more. So there's just a lot going on that front too. It's not just, acquisitions and big deals. Under the belly of the business, we're working on strengthening our capability on all fronts. So there's a lot more that I could say on those types of things, but I just wanted to bring some of that across to you as well. There's a lot going on, lots happening within the various businesses, and also on the technology front, more than what I've mentioned, but I'll leave it there for now. Just a quick update on the sales front. We're also working on some serious deals, including on the software front for our virtual reality training and also our communications and incident management software. These deals include the likes of Dubai Civil Defense, which is a properly well-funded organization, a very large and also very well-funded law enforcement group in Asia, and another in the UK. And I know we've not announced our communications and incident management software technology partnership yet, but it's in the form of a joint venture, and we're just going through the processes for that before announcing. There's a lot of government contracts involved in this, and this technology is currently being looked at by international organizations that are household names. So I'm certainly not going to jeopardize deals for the sake of some excitement. We also like deals to be signed, everything signed before we put names out there. But that certainly doesn't stop our sales team from negotiating deals. And fortunately, both myself and our sales director and some of the sales team are very well connected in the law enforcement and the government agency space. If you look at my background and our sales directors, you'll see where we're connected, and I'm sure you can start to join some dots. But yeah, we're making multi-million-dollar deal progress in that space. And so I personally am very excited. I'm passionate about the technology, and just look forward to talking more about it very soon. So I'm getting towards the end of this video. Just to say, on the Nasdaq uplisting front, that is all still well on track, and we know that the timelines there will be impressive. We'll be announcing more details on that front soon. And just to add, we'll be moving into our Boca Raton headquarters in February 2022. They're just going through things like having new carpets put down, walls repainted, configuration, walls moved around, things like that. If you're interested, the office itself will be around 5,000 square foot, and it's going to accommodate around 25 staff. Nick himself will be spending a lot of time operating from there, with the primary purpose of driving that Nasdaq uplisting. Now that most of that EU deal is on my desk, and it's great that he can focus on that. I myself will be spending most of my time in the US, but also all over the place, out and about, getting other important deals done. Most of our senior management team will be based out of the Boca office. I think we're moving around 5 or 6 from Dubai to across there as well. And that office in Florida is just the right location for us after having done a lot of research. And it really just comes down to a balance of skills and costs. So I believe this is the best way forward for our growth and certainly for our first uplisting. So yeah, lots of exciting things, as you can tell, going on at ILUS. There always are. And we're hard at work delivering on these deals that we've spoken about. And to that end, I'm supremely confident that we will continue to deliver as we have been doing already. I hope you've found this video useful. Look, I'm sure I can do another Q&A video sometime soon. So if the Discord has any questions, or if you want to email across some questions to me, I'll be more than happy to answer them on email or stick them into a video for you guys. In the meantime, I really want to thank our long-term shareholders again for your ongoing support. We really appreciate you guys. And of course, we look forward to meeting more of you in person at the January shareholder meeting. But there's still lots to come in terms of big news before then, though. So let me wish you all a good week ahead. Thank you for listening to me, and bye for now.